Hey you guys, I am back. I'm back with another video. This is video dose. Um, Welcome to my channel. Welcome to another episode of this Piscean Reports. How you guys doing today? Hopefully you're having a sensational day. For those of you new to my channel, welcome aboard. For those of you who are returning, as always, welcome back, you guys. Welcome back. Okay, so I just wanted to do this video. I told you guys in the first video, I let you guys know that the powers that be are pretty damn nervous at this time, okay? Because they did not anticipate, the awakening. Nobody saw this coming. They didn't see this one coming, and they don't know how to, well, they're kind of, sort of. I look at it this way. They're kind of rallying. Like, how can we shut this one up? How can we, we've got to stop this, And so I was listening to a lovely young lady, and this young lady she said that right now they are trying to, the buzzword that they're trying to use right now to describe maybe either the things I'm saying or the things I have been experiencing as spiritual psychosis. That's the buzzword, is spiritual psychosis, right? Now, I thought about that and I said, okay. And I don't. Let me start this first. I absolutely do not have to try to even comment on it, even give it any, thought or anything. But I'm like, okay, let's do this. Let's do this. You want to try to sit up here and throw that word out? Oh, that person's under some kind of spiritual psychosis. I'm like, all right, let's do this. So I wrote down some things that I had experienced, and I would like to ask the question, was it spiritual psychosis? That is, I don't think I will call it that. Is it spiritual psychosis? I don't think so, but I will probably name it something else. But I will say this, I have had, and I've told you guys about a lot of experiences, so I jotted down some notes. Okay. Now, a lot of you guys know that I talked in the beginning about how I was having conversations with spirit, and I was saying, there was a young man, or there was a man who was living with me, and I was trying to get rid of him, and I couldn't, and so I posed the question to the universe. I said, this person won't go away. And I told you guys about how I received a reading, and the reading, it said that you would receive assistance from a young man, and that young man did show up, and I absolutely did not want to. I remember trying to talk to my daughter and tell her about what was happening. And this young man kept standing right there he was all in our conversation. And I remember he just kept saying, I can help you. I can help you. Let me help you. Right. So was it a spiritual psychosis when I received the message that said you will receive assistance from a young man? And this young man showed up. I never met him before. I didn't know him from a can of paint. And yet here he was, all up in our conversation saying, I can help you. Let me help you. And this young man ultimately helped me. And I want to pose the question, is that a spiritual psychosis? Okay. When I was dating, when my daughter's father came back into our life, and he kept saying, and I kept telling him that I keep receiving the card that says someone is wearing a false mask. I kept getting this card. Deception. Someone's wearing a false mask. And I remember riding in the car with him, and I said, I for some reason I keep getting this card that says, someone's wearing a false mask. And he kept saying, well, it ain't me. Well, it ain't me. And it ultimately turned out to be him. This person was in a committed relationship with someone, probably even has children with that person. Is that a spiritual psychosis? Is this a spiritual psychosis? that I kept getting that card again and again and again. And I kept saying, I was confused. And and I kept saying, and, he was wanting to keep things going, and I kept saying something's wrong. Cause I told you guys I had that dream I saw the reading. It says you're about to have a conversation with the angels. And then the day I told you guys about the dream where the angel came up to me on the beach and said, and he said, what's wrong? And I said, well, I don't know. There's this person that I had been wanting to be with forever, but something seems off. Something's not right. And then the angel said, you know what? All your life you've gone down this path, and he did like that. I was on a beach, and then he did this, just did that. And then magically the path came. And he said, all your life you've gone down that path, and that path has been met with pain and heartache and disappointment. And then he said, and then there's this path, and he does that. And then he said, and you've never gone down that path. And I remember looking, and it looked so nice, because it wrapped around, and we're on a beach, and here's the ocean right in front of me, and here's these paths right there, and they're right there, and so I remember looking. And I went to turn back to say, really? And then he was gone. And then I woke up. Is that a spiritual psychosis? Was it a spiritual psychosis when I kept saying, someone is, I keep getting this card that says someone's wearing a false mask. And he said, it ain't me. And then it absolutely was him. Was that a spiritual psychosis? Okay. Is it a spiritual psychosis when I kept seeing and feeling that I was getting readings that said, quit your job. And it was on me so strong one day. They kept saying it. I kept seeing it in the reading, quit your job. And you're going to start this new thing. But I enjoyed the job. And it was on me so tough that one day I was literally in tears at my job. And that literally was the last day, because my spirit was on me so tough. It's so hard to quit your job. We need you to do this. This is so important. And I did quit my job. And when I quit my job, I started that channel. Is it spiritual psychosis that I kept seeing, and that I began to tell this story about a stolen inheritance? And everybody in town started talking about it. How does she know? Who told her? How did she find out? Was that a spiritual psychosis? Everybody was talking about it. I knew nothing about it. And then went to the spiritual psychosis when I kept seeing 333, that your ascended masters are working with you at this time. And then one day I woke up because I kept seeing it, and it woke me up at 333 in the morning. And I was like, what is going on? And I got the deck of cards, and I see the thing again about the inheritance. And then it began to register that that's not somebody else, that's you. We're trying to tell you this is you, that this is happening to you. Now, is that spiritual psychosis when it actually turned out to be true that these people did take that money? I don't think so. Okay. Was it spiritual psychosis when I got the job, the current job I'm at? And the young man that I met, everybody knows who we are. Those who know that I ordered this deck, Money Tree. I saw it and said Money Tree Career Oracle. And I said, okay, that sounds great. And I never saw all the cards. I just saw a few, and I said, oh, those are pretty. I'm going to go ahead and order them. And what happened? I got the card that says someone through work tries to lead you astray. And ultimately, this person did convince me to do things that I wouldn't normally have done. This person tried to convince me to, reconsider my whole spiritual, my beliefs. He was causing me to question my beliefs, basically and essentially to lead me astray. Is that spiritual psychosis? That of all the cards I could have bought, I tell you guys all the time about my spirit team. They know. This is why I tell you guys, they have a higher perspective. They have a higher vantage point on your life. They know what's coming before you do. And I said it before, I'll say it again. Of all the decks I could have bought, you tell me, what are the chances that I would buy this particular deck and have my spirit team lay that card out I got it, and I got it twice, and I didn't understand. I was like, and I'm looking over at him, and I remember thinking, look at this sweet little face, like it can't be. But yet still, someone through work tries to lead you astray. Is that spiritual psychosis? And it happened. Okay. Now, I wanted to say this, and here's where we get ready to get deep, baby. We get ready to get deep. I'm going to ask you this question. When Moses saw the burning bush, was that a spiritual psychosis? When Moses was told to go and free the Hebrews, was that a spiritual psychosis? Was he just telling himself that, or was Spirit really telling him to do that? Was it a mass spiritual psychosis when Moses parted the sea and everybody saw it? Is that mass psychosis? Is that a mass spiritual psychosis? You see what I'm saying? Is it a spiritual psychosis when someone, hold on. I will go with this one. Is a spiritual psychosis when someone says that they're being called? No one can prove it, but it happens every day. People get called. Was it a spiritual psychosis when Pastor Osteen's father received a calling to give his life to the Lord? And he said, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do that. And his family was like, that's crazy. Why would you do that? That makes no sense. Okay. Was it a spiritual psychosis when he chose to, preach differently from the status quo? Was that a spiritual psychosis that he's under? You see what I'm saying? You get where I'm going with this? I want to say this. Our Father is the same then and now. Our Father is in the business of miracles. He is in the business of awakening. He is in the business of changing lives. He does it every day. So, I am going to say the answer to that question is no. It's not a spiritual psychosis. Because you didn't experience it doesn't make it any less real. Okay? I've had all of these things happen. Moses had all those things happen. It got to a point where he questioned, when he was trying to get Pharaoh to, let go of the slaves, and he would just, Pharaoh would increase his evil and unleash it and make it worse on the people. And he said, maybe I'm tripping. Like, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Like, is it me? Am I not? I'm sorry, God, forgive my weak use of your strength. I don't know what I'm doing. What am I not? And the Father assured him, you're good. I want you to go now and go tomorrow and say, let my people go. And then he came back again. Let my people go. Was it spiritual psychosis when those snakes ate, when the snake ate the other snake? Was it spiritual psychosis when the devil, or when when the Father sent that mist into Egypt and it killed all the firstborn? Is that a spiritual psychosis? You see what I'm saying? Because you don't believe it, because it didn't happen to you does not mean it didn't happen. I have experienced every last one of those things. I literally had a reading just the other day that would have laid your ass out. It would have laid y'all out. You'd have been like, hell no. And I wanted so bad to say, can I show it? Can I show it? But the Spirit came upon me and said, you know what? Your days of trying to convince somebody are over. It's time to start getting down to business. It's time to start speaking your truth. It's time to start doing what needs to be done. Say what needs to be said. You got something to say, and say it. And that's what I'm going to do. So you can forget about the whole spiritual psychosis. I'm going to tell you, like I tell everybody else, your spirit team is, your guides are, your angels are. You just need to be open. Just be open. Trust what you're thinking. Trust what you're feeling. Trust what you're seeing. We do it every day. I don't know what's causing me to walk away from this job, but I do it. It's your spirit team. It's your guides and your angels coming on you so strong that you have no other choice but to walk away. When you get an opportunity to do this or that, and you're what do I do? What do I do? And you check in with your body and which way feels right. If you feel uneasy, that was the wrong way. If this feels good, you go that way. That's the right way. This is not spiritual psychosis. This is so real. This is so real. You know, this is that time. This is that moment. We are at a turning point in the world. And like I said, the powers that be are very nervous. They're nervous. They're scared because it was always this way. This is what worked, and this is what we want to do. And there here comes someone that is presenting a different option, the option to love instead of to hate. And that doesn't benefit them. That doesn't help us. And this it's always been this, and we've got to say something. So we'll just say this. Oh, she's under some spiritual psychosis. But every last thing that happened. The inheritance is there. I had no clue. All I knew is I just kept getting messages to quit your job. There's something you get ready to do. There's something you're going to do. And every time I felt frustration with the Father, every time, I would be undermined and maligned and talked about and talked down. And I would say, I'm not doing this anymore, Father. I can't do this. This is ridiculous. Nobody is listening. And every time I said quit, it never fails. I would just say, you know what? I'm just going to do a random reading. And I got a little minute and let me see. And then I see those cards that say, keep going. Speak up. You've got something to say. Say it. And I would keep going. And that's what I'm going to do now. I got to the point now where I finally said, you know what? I'm done. It's time. It's time to stand up. It's time to say what needs to be said and be strong. Stand in your truth. And I'm so glad I did. And I want to make you guys understand they are there. Your guides, your angels, they talk to us in all manner of ways. They come to us in our dreams. I've had family come to me in my dreams. They come to you in spirit. Some of us out there have actually seen spirits, seen them. It's not a spiritual psychosis. You see it. There's plenty of people, but a lot of people are afraid. They're afraid because, I don't want to challenge anybody. I don't want to go up. I don't want to say it because everybody will say, no, speak up, say it. Yep, that did happen. I did see that. I did experience that, and stand on it. Because the more we start standing up and speaking up and saying, I did see these things, I did experience these things, the more people will begin to see that, life is mysterious. It's beautifully mysterious, and it's just it's reminders like those to let us know that our loved ones are not in a hole. They're not in a hole to be lost and forever forgotten. They're on the other side, and they're still with us, and they still help us. So, let's see. Yeah, like I said, the powers that be are scared because everybody's eyes are being opened. We are being presented with the rare opportunity to really make change in this world, to make a difference in this world, to take things to that next great level. And they're scared because it doesn't involve them. It doesn't involve the status quo. What's coming now involves great change, and we can do it, and they know it. Because I've said it once and I will say it again. People only have the power that you give them. Remember that. And they know it. They know it. They don't want you to know it, but they know it. They know it now. They know you know it now. Okay? All right. They recognize their days are numbered. Things are happening. Things are changing. And just remember, it starts with you. You've got the power. You've got the power. The power is now in your hands, and they're nervous and they're scared and whatever. And remember, it's not, spiritual psychosis. Those things happen as you see. As you see, these things happen. They're working with us. They work with us all the time. That's just how they speak to me, because I am, different. They were like, we're not going to get through. We're not going to reach her through traditional, streets, the traditional way, avenues. She's different. We're going to have to get her in a different way. I'm somebody who's spiritual. Everybody knows that. And so they said, this is how we're going to reach her. And I am so thrilled. I love it. I love it. I love it, But anyway, I just wanted to leave you guys with that message, okay? It's not spiritual psychosis. It wasn't spiritual psychosis when it was Moses. It's not spiritual psychosis when it was Mother Mary. When Mother Mary was a spiritual psychosis when she went to everybody and said, I was visited by the Holy Spirit. Is that a spiritual psychosis, or did it really happen? Do you see what I mean? Because it didn't happen to you, didn't mean it happened. When she came up pregnant, everybody was like, that whore and that this, and she's awful, and oh my God, poor Joseph, and he's stuck with this, whore, and she's sleeping around, and she did, and so much so that the Spirit had to come and say, nope, she's telling you the truth. She's telling you the truth. Just leaving y'all with that. Leaving you with that. No spiritual psychosis. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go. I hope you guys like the message. Remember that this is we are coming into a very beautiful time. This is a time of change, and not just change. Great change is upon us right now. It's awesome. All right. I'm going to go ahead and go. I hope you liked it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Nothing make me happy and let you guys know they are with us. God is the same then as he is now. People encounter awakenings every day. Every day. Remember that. It could happen to you. And pray that if you are that one, that next one who has that awakening, that nobody goes to you and goes, you're crazy and that's a psychosis. I hopefully at that point we'd be like, oh my God, that's amazing. That's fantastic. Really? Yeah, this is what I'm being called to do. Well, good luck. That's awesome. All right, I'm going to go. I will see you guys next time on the next video. You have a great afternoon. You have a great evening. I will see you guys next time on the next video. You guys take care. Bye-bye.